Hi everyone! So today's video is going to be a little bit different because I'm taking you along to my cardiology appointments today because I wanted to tell you about what's going on and what issues I've had in the past. I posted on my Instagram story about this and a lot of people were interested, so I decided to make a whole vlog of it, kind of last minute this morning. First of all, do not worry, I am okay. I've had a history of SVT and I had an ablation. So going back to the beginning, I had SVT when I was younger. It started when I was in my teens and it was undiagnosed. I actually had gone to the ER twice for it and it hadn't been caught because it went away by the time I got there. So I was diagnosed with anxiety attacks when that actually wasn't what was going on, but that's not anybody's fault because it really seemed like that's what it was. So I had these palpitations or SVT episodes for years on and off, and nothing really seemed to trigger them, nothing seemed to make them better. So I really didn't know what was going on. And then one night when I was working in the SRNA Surgical Trauma Burn ICU at the University of Virginia, that was my staff job, I was just doing a routine admission and I had an episode of SVT, which was not abnormal for me. So I just kept printing lab stickers and going about my business and expecting it to go away, but it did not go away. It got very bad, the worst that it's ever been for me before, and I ended up getting lightheaded. I had to sit in the computer chair and I could not even finish drawing labs. I started getting short of breath, so I went to my charge nurse and I sat down in that chair and she said, "What is wrong with you?" as soon as she looked at me. And at this point I didn't know it was SVT. So I said, "Something's wrong with my heart, like my heart's racing, I can't breathe." And you could see my name tag just like bouncing off my chest really fast because that's how hard my heart was beating. So she called over the resident. They checked my pulse, my heart rate was so fast they couldn't even count it, and they were about to hook me up to our monitors up there, but then the resident said, "I think you should just take her down to the emergency room because it seems like that something's wrong and she needs an intervention." At this point, we had tried vagal maneuvers, ice, we had tried carotid massage, like everything you could think of, we were up there trying it. So my charge nurse rolled me down to the emergency room in the computer chair because I couldn't stand up anymore. They hooked me up to the monitor. They said, "You're an SVT." My heart rate was around 200, and they said they were going to try to chemically convert me with adenosine, which I was very familiar with because I'd given it to a lot of patients before. And I got really nervous immediately because adenosine just is a really scary drug to be getting yourself. So I said, "Could you give me something before you do that?" because I'm like really anxious. So they gave me Ativan and then gave me adenosine like right after. The Ativan didn't even have time to work yet, but I was thankful they at least gave me something. So they gave me 6 of adenosine. I had to pause for like 4 or 5 seconds and then I went straight back into SVT. So that obviously did not work. So then about 5 minutes later, they decided to give me 12 of adenosine. So the 12 of adenosine gave me a much longer pause and I converted back to sinus tach. So I didn't go back to sinus rhythm, but I did go back into a normal rhythm that wasn't SVT. And that was how I found out that I had an AVNRT, atrioventricular nodal reentry tachycardia, that's a mouthful, and that I needed an ablation basically. So they had referred me to an EP specialist. Now before we get into that, I wanted to tell you really fast what SVT felt like and what adenosine felt like. Everybody wants to know what adenosine feels like. So first of all, SVT feels like your heart is in your throat. It is being so hard. You just feel like someone's pounding on your chest and you can't catch your breath and it just feels like your stomach's sinking kind of. And I never really got a feeling of impending doom until that last time that I couldn't get out of the SVT. So that was not fun. And the adenosine, so that actually didn't hurt to me. I had it explained to me when I was like in nursing school and training in the ICU that it would hurt, like feel like getting hit by a truck. But really they gave it in my right AC, I remember, an 18 gauge. And as soon as they gave it, I just felt heat like coming through my veins. And then my heart felt just like stunned. And then I got lightheaded and I started feeling like that feeling when you get up too fast and you're about to faint. And that was with the 6 of adenosine. Then right after, I just felt straight back to the SVT. When I got the 12 of adenosine, I felt much more heat and I felt more than I felt my heart stunned. I just felt like I was going away from the light. Like I felt like, not to be dramatic, I felt like that everything was just like closing in, like that black hole feeling, and like I'd gotten up too fast and was about to pass out. And then as soon as I felt like I was actually gonna pass out, I just like, it all started to go away because the half-life of adenosine is so incredibly short. So then I immediately was like back with it, and then I looked at the monitor and I went back into sinus tach, but not into SVT. So it was all good after that. So basically everybody in the ER I knew because I worked shock trauma in SRNA. So that was awkward because I was just like talking my head off. I guess I'm a chatty, medicated person. Oh my gosh. So obviously at this point, Jon was there. So he ended up taking me upstairs to get my stuff out of my locker. And I was like, wanting to say hi to everybody, but thankfully he just directed me out of there and we went home and I went to sleep because I was actually working night shift, so I basically just crashed forever. Over the next few weeks, I actually had more frequent episodes of SVT, and when I went to the EP, he said that was very common for my age group. I was 24. He said that your heart completely finishes developing around that age, and that when the circuits finish developing, your SVT can get a lot worse. So usually he said that young women in their 20s is who he most commonly has to do these kinds of ablations on. They could not treat me with any medications because my normal systolic blood pressure is usually in the 90s, so I couldn't be on a beta blocker or anything like that. So we went ahead and elected for the ablation. I had a radio frequency ablation under conscious sedation, so I didn't even have like an anesthetist or an anesthesiologist. I had an RN giving me fentanyl and Versed, and I was fully aware of what was going on during the procedure, just kind of out of it, and also very chatty with everybody in the room that I knew, so that was fun. But it took about an hour and a half. They got the SVT. They gave me isoproterenol at the end to make sure that I didn't go back into SVT, which I did not. And if you've never had isoproterenol, it feels awful. It felt like adrenaline like surging through my body, and I could not stay on that table barely after I got it. The one huge mistake I made after my ablation was the post-op nurse offered me Zofran, and I said no because I felt fine at the time. And on our way home, I got super sick. So if they ever offer you Zofran, take it. I would take it now. My recovery from the ablation basically consisted of soreness and PVCs. So my fem access sites were super sore. They were very sore and bruised, which is normal. And my heart area, my chest area was sore and relieved with ibuprofen, which they said I could take. I asked first, so don't worry. So the ibuprofen helped a lot once I took that. I had issues with the PVCs for a long time after the ablation. I felt like I had them more frequently than I should, but that is a common complication of having an ablation as the scar tissue's healing and your heart's healing. So you're probably wondering how I even found out I had mitral regurgitation since I wasn't having major issues after my ablation. Well, I found out because I had my ablation in 2015, and it was now 2019 when I found out, because I had been having PVCs like all this time on and off, and I was talking to a cardiologist that was doing clinical with an endo actually, who was doing an echo on somebody. And he said, oh, you should definitely have an echo because you had an ablation in the past and you had a history of SVT. So he got me in for an appointment in like a week, did my echo, and said you have mild mitral regurgitation. And that might be contributing to the PVCs, but the PVCs are benign at this point. So he recommended that I have an annual echo and EKG every year to make sure that the mitral regurgitation is not getting worse, since this is the first time I'd had it diagnosed. There was a chance that it had been getting worse and we just didn't know about it, so there was nothing to compare it against. So after explaining all that, now you know why I'm going to the cardiologist today to have my annual echo. I am a little bit nervous before this appointment because I'm a little bit worried that it's gotten worse, but I mean, I don't have any symptoms and I'm pretty athletic as far as working out goes without any issues, so it's unlikely that it got worse. I think I'm fine. I'm gonna head out to that appointment now and I'm gonna take you with me. They just finished the echo and now I'm waiting to go back to get my results. I couldn't really see the screen very well the way they had it angled, so I didn't get a huge view of what was going on, but the nurse practitioner is gonna come get me after she reviews it and let me know what she thinks. Also, I just realized it looks like I have underwear on my face, and my mom made me a really cute mask and I forgot it, so I'm having to wear this one that I had in my bag from the hospital a long time ago. I'm waiting for the nurse practitioner right now, and they decided to do an EKG because I haven't had one in over a year, so they wanted to do that along with the echo, and now I'm just waiting for her to come do her exam. And I just found out that my cardiologist actually isn't here right now. He's at the hospital, and this is like an outpatient facility, so I won't get my echo results until later this afternoon or in a few days when he's able to go over them and call me and talk to me about it. Okay, now that that's done, I'm going to update you on everything that I did hear about, which is everything except the mitral regurgitation. So I had my EKG and that came back completely normal, which I was expecting. And I had my physical exam. She said everything looked great. I told the nurse practitioner about my PVCs that I get occasionally. That's been going on for a while since my SVT ablation. and she said totally normal, nothing to worry about because they don't affect me. I don't get short of breath or dizzy or anything like that. I went ahead and got a copy of my echo results from last year just so that I could look at them while she's talking to me about the results from this year, so that I have something to go by, and I'm going to write the results from this year on it. I want to start kind of keeping track of it a little better because I didn't do great with my follow-up after my ablation. I know nurses are the worst patients, and I'm no exception. I'm gonna go home and study. That's about all I have planned for the rest of the day. Study, hang out with B and Jon. And what I'm gonna do is just like pause this vlog until I get the results phone call, which she said will probably be Thursday. And then I'm gonna pick back up when I answer the phone from her. I'm gonna try to put it on speaker so you guys can listen to the results, and I will see you then. Hi, I'm back. So it's Thursday now, and I've got the results from my echo. The nurse practitioner just called me, and the good news is nothing changed. So my mitral regurgitation is exactly the same as it was last year, which is awesome news because the worry is obviously that it would get worse, and it has not. So that means it might have just been the same ever since I was born, and it's just gonna stay like this forever. And I apologize for not filming the call like I said I would. I was not prepared. I didn't have my camera with me. I only had my phone, and I couldn't film it on my phone while I was using my phone, so sorry about that. That's kind of the end of my cardiac issue video, so I'm really lucky there's not anything seriously wrong with me. I know people have much worse issues than this. I just wanted to share because it's a more common thing than you would think. A lot of people have went through SVT or had valve issues that are my age, and I thought just talking about it might help. I'm gonna get out of this car now because I'm literally suffocating. It is so hot. And I wanted to say thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up because that helps my channel. And as always, I hope you have an amazing week, and I will see you next week.